Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So we've talked a little bit recently about how the primary election cycle is kind of waning down. Obviously, we have a big primary day coming up a week from this Tuesday because you have Florida and New York in terms of their congressional primaries there. But there's not a whole lot going on besides that, except for the fact that there is one impeachment Republican that's still running for re-election that needs to go in the House, as well as one in the Senate, by the way, the only one that is up in the Senate in 2022. One of the impeachment 7 in the Senate, and then you have Liz Cheney, who is one of the impeachment 10 in the House, both up for re-election this upcoming Tuesday. So I wanted to go over the importance of these elections and which way I believe that they will go. Now, keep in mind, I do expect Lisa Murkowski to obviously advance to the general election because of Alaska's new system. However, it's going to be a four-way jungle primary. The top four finishers this election this Tuesday are going to go on to the general election. So you're likely going to have Lisa Murkowski and then America First candidate Kelly Tshibaka advance, and there's going to be ranked choice voting. On the Wyoming side, it is very likely that Liz Cheney loses. And Trump not only took out the Clinton dynasty and the Bush dynasty, he also will have taken out the Cheney dynasty, the establishment dynasties of both parties. One man, one businessman that decides to just, get his feet wet in the water of politics because he knows something is wrong. And he knows that the leadership does not represent the American people, especially on the right, by the way. With the Bushes, the Cheneys, the people that have really castrated the Republican Party and took it away from a more authentic conservatism and put it in the direction of a more globalist form of neoconservatism that is completely cool with mass immigration, is apathetic to social decline, and is also very interventionist on foreign policy. And obviously, Trump came along back in 2016, he railed against the Iraq war on the Republican side. He railed against the Bushes. He railed against the Cheneys. And that's why they don't exactly like him so much. And Liz Cheney, when it was politically convenient for her to do so, turned on Trump, threw him under the bus at the most opportune time for her, but not exactly, really, because she's got stripped from leadership and she is going to end up losing her primary, more likely than not. Now, even CNN admits that Liz Cheney is likely on her way to a major political defeat. This is Harry Enton. He's one of the election mafia analysts. Even these people are admitting that Cheney screwed up so badly to the point where she is likely to lose to Harriet Hageman, who is the Trump-endorsed candidate. And polls agree with this so far. Primary polling hasn't exactly been perfect, but when you can't even poll, past 35% typically, as an incumbent, as somebody who's entrenched with high name recognition, and you're polling so low and the undecideds are very low in a lot of these polls, it kind of tells you everything you need to know. You have Harriet Hageman and you have Anthony Bouchard. And Anthony Bouchard really dropped the ball. He, looked promising about a year ago or so. And then he had the scandals coming out about the fact that he got a girl pregnant when she was 14 and he was 18 or 19, and then she ended up killing herself 5 years later. It was an abysmal train wreck, and he was completely fine with that story, just, going out of the gate. He stuck in the race. He tried to defend it. It didn't work, and his support dropped. Trump endorsed Harriet Hageman. Harriet Hageman was a former staffer of Liz Cheney, so there were some question marks there about would she actually be much different, but she still has been an ardent opponent of Cheney's neoconservatism and will be likely a massive upgrade in the House in Wyoming. I'm not going to sit up here and say that I'm super enthusiastic about Harriet Hageman being the representative, but compared to Liz Cheney, you get a massive upgrade, and I think Hageman is somebody that will likely fall in line, even though I don't think that she's, that much of a fighter or a trailblazer. You probably could have gotten somebody better, but the Wyoming bench is not really that deep, especially with the Bouchard scandal there. But either way, it's looking like Hageman is going to pull off this primary victory, and there's going to be a lot of salt coming from the neoconservatives in the state, not just the state of Wyoming, but nationwide. And you'll see a lot of left-wingers say the GOP, the GQP, it's just a cult of Trump. Meanwhile, they support people like the Cheneys and the Bushes just because they opposed Trump. These were the same people that were railing against them 10, 15 years ago. But it's not about their principles. It's not about their ideology. It's about their vision for the soul of this country. And they oppose a stronger, America First, authentic conservative right rising. This is why they will engage in these psyops at every turn. That's why people like Donald Trump was not a real conservative and he was a moderate Clinton donor in the Republican primary. The second he won the nomination, he became a far-right fascist in the eyes of a lot of these people because all they care about is stopping the wave of authentic conservatism and America First. And the neocons on the right fall into this category as well because they also have the same vision. They're a controlled opposition per se. You look at somebody like Liz Cheney. Somebody like Lisa Murkowski has a far worse record than Liz Cheney. And they're going to be like, well, Liz Cheney voted with Trump like 90% of the time, but voting record is not everything. It's really not. What was the 10% she opposed? And look at the bills that she supported. Whoa, she voted for like the tax cut. Okay, is that like supposed to be like a flex? Like, no, it's not. That has nothing really to do with it. It's more than just about the party line Paul Ryan bills that Trump signed into office that you happen to support that really determine your ideology and your role in a movement, especially as a congressperson. But beyond that point, Liz Cheney's only one of these people. And you look at Liz Cheney's record, it's awful. Obviously, those who might be on the fence, again, I don't really think a lot of people are, but look at foreign policy, even on Wikipedia. Literally, the thing that comes up on Wikipedia, Cheney is a neoconservative who rejects the America First foreign policy. Okay, already that's a non-starter, and you could look at this, and she goes on, and you look at her record, and it just talks about how she supported every single war her entire career. She opposed withdrawing from Afghanistan. She's criticized what she believes to be the Putin wing of the Republican Party because they care about the American border, the southern border, more so than they care about the Russian and Ukrainian border, which again, if you look at more opinion polling regarding that issue, it seems as if the tide is turning in terms of the public support for the war in Ukraine. Less people now want to get involved. I was proven right once again. I was vindicated, and the neocons were not vindicated once again. Obviously, she voted for the 1-6 commission. She was one of 9 House Republicans to hold Bannon in contempt of Congress just to appease the left. That's all it was about. And in terms of social issues, she caved on, same-sex marriage with the Obergefell. Back in the day, the Bushes, that was like the one thing they were good on was holding the line. They held the line pretty well on some of the alphabet agenda issues. But now you have Liz Cheney saying, oh, the GOP is now bigoted. But, where was she 10, 15 years ago? No, it's just falling in line with the status quo. That's all she can do. But beyond that point, she's probably going to lose. Polling can determine that. And it's so true. Now people are going to be asking about Alaska. What about the primary that's happening there? Well, they also have their House primary. Sarah Palin, I still believe she's the favorite, albeit it's a narrow favorite, going up against Nick Bajich. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there, but some polling has turned away from Palin. I don't necessarily believe that it really means that she's going to be doomed, but I don't want to spend too much time talking about the House race up in Alaska because the Senate primary is important. Now, not a whole lot is really going to be unexpected. We'll watch the margins as they come in, though. If Lisa Murkowski is doing very poorly compared to where she should be, for example, if in the primary she's only getting I guess you would say support that's below 20% or something like that, which I'm not saying that's going to happen, but if that is the case, then it is very likely that Tshibaka might perform better in the general. So it's going to give us a preview. But Lisa Murkowski is the worst senator that Republicans have. In my opinion, she's worse than Mitt Romney. She's worse than Susan Collins because her voting record is awful. And on top of that, she's from a state that voted for Trump multiple times by more than 10 percentage points, voted for him in 2016 by 16 points, voted for him by closer to 10 to 11 in 2020. And in 2024 is probably going to vote for him by around 15 again because they really don't like incumbents. And this is true. Murkowski had a lot of support, but as polarization kicks in, it seems as if that support is dwindling as the election cycles go on. And she is really at risk. And Trump went up to Alaska, which, again, presidents don't usually go up to Alaska, but he went up to Alaska and did a rally for Kelly Tshibaka, who is very solid on the issue. She'll be instantly a top 10 senator if she gets in, and that's saying something because you have a lot of good new blood in the Senate. You're going to have a lot of great senators that are going to be better than the current crop. Even the best senator now is not going to even be in the top 5 or maybe even top 10 after the midterms. But either way, Tshibaka is going to be great if she gets in there. But the problem is there is this new voting system. So we'll see. Either way, Murkowski and Tshibaka are going to advance, but Murkowski needs to go. Her record is awful. And in ranked choice voting, I hope conservatives rank her last so she loses. You know, she's somebody that voted with Obama 73% of the time. Obama couldn't even get within 14 points of winning the state. She voted with Biden 79% of the time, voted with Trump just 72% of the time, is unabashedly pro-abortion, supports gun control, literally virtually all gun control legislation. And that says something because Alaska is a state that loves their guns, but she can't even represent the constituents. She voted for all Biden's appointees, everything that really is going on through the bureaucracy of the Biden administration. It's all on her. It's all her fault. She voted for Dr. Levine. She voted for Ketanji Brown Jackson. She supports DACA, amnesty, went on to call every single Trump immigration stance cruel. And this is all in a state that voted for Trump by 10 plus points. So looking at this chart, this should tell you everything that you need to know about Murkowski. And I know there's a lot more, by the way, that couldn't fit on here. But either way, she's just downright awful. Her record on literally everything just falls in line with the establishment. And she's in a Republican state. You know, Susan Collins, I'm not excusing Susan Collins, right? I'm not going to do that. But at the end of the day, Susan Collins represents a state that voted for Biden by like 9 points, right? Lisa Murkowski represents a state that voted for Trump by more than 10 points. There's no excuse for this record. She votes like a Republican from Massachusetts, hypothetically. Like even Scott Brown, when he was senator in the early 2010s for that brief stint, he didn't have a voting record this bad. She's awful. She needs to go. Alaska deserves somebody better. Alaska doesn't need the lower 48 buying their Senate seat. They don't need that. And Murkowski gets a lot of her donations from the lower 48. Beyond that point, it's important to understand that Murkowski with the whole like 2010 write-in thing, it's not going to work because she's going to advance to the top 4. So whatever happens in the general election happens then. So hopefully the nepotism, Lisa, is really what she is because her father was governor, basically appointed her to the Senate seat. Hopefully Lisa Murkowski will end up going down in November, but it's going to be interesting to watch on Tuesday the primary margins as the results do come in. It's going to come in really late. I don't know if I'll still be streaming by the time the Alaska results come in. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Probably not going to get full results because it's one of those states where it takes forever to count the votes. I don't know if you guys remember, but I think they called Alaska for Trump in 2020 like on November 13th, even though it was obvious that he was going to win for like days. I think it was the day after the election. We were pretty certain that Trump would take it. But either way, they called it super late because they had more votes that had to come in. So either way, we'll see what happens on Tuesday, but you're going to have 2 RINOs that will likely fall. One of them on Tuesday, one of them in November. That's a little bit less of a sure thing, but we got to make it happen. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle out.